The thing about working on a human hospital ship is that most species in the galaxy think we're completely insane. Not because of our medical practices, those are universally recognized as exceptional. No, it's because we're the only civilization crazy enough to build massive flying hospitals and then send them into the most dangerous parts of space, actively looking for people to help. The Mercy's Grace is one such ship. 2 kilometers of pristine white hull packed with the latest in medical technology, staffed by 300 of humanity's finest healthcare professionals, and guided by an AI that somehow managed to develop both perfect bedside manner and weapons-grade sarcasm. Good morning, Doc Martinez. Your coffee is precisely 67 degrees Celsius, which you claim is perfect despite all evidence to the contrary. Florence's voice carried through the medical bay with its usual dry tone. Also, the Graxian in bed 7 has grown a 3rd arm overnight. I believe that's not supposed to happen. Phoebe. Doc Martinez, head nurse of the Mercy's Grace, took a long sip of her allegedly imperfect coffee and smiled. Good morning to you too, Florence. And yes, the Graxian is supposed to grow extra limbs. It's part of their healing process. That arm will fall off in about 6 hours. Fascinating. I've updated my databases to include spontaneous limb generation under normal biological processes that would be absolutely horrifying if they happened to humans. The medical bay hummed with its usual morning activity. Doctors and nurses moved from bed to bed, treating everything from common spacer's lung to exotic alien parasites that had to be kept in quantum stasis to prevent them from evolving mid-treatment. It was just another day aboard humanity's most advanced hospital ship. Doc Jake Thompson, their chief maintenance engineer, came jogging up with his trademark grin. The man could fix anything with duct tape and optimism, which came in handy more often than anyone would like to admit. Got that artificial gravity calibrated in Ward C. Turns out trying to treat floating Hrickstal wasn't doing their motion sickness any favors. Thanks, Jake. Any other engineering emergencies I should know about? Well, Rex managed to get his arm stuck in the new food synthesizer again. Florence's voice chimed in. I feel compelled to point out that this is the 3rd time this week Orderly Johnson has achieved this particular feat. I'm beginning to suspect he's developing a relationship with the machine. Down the corridor, Rex Tank Johnson's booming voice echoed, I can hear you, Florence. And I ain't dating the synthesizer, I'm just trying to get it to make decent meatloaf. This was the crew of the Mercy's Grace. The best of the best, the cream of the crop, and absolutely bonkers by most galactic standards. While other species built warships and trading vessels, humanity had looked at the vast, dangerous expanse of space and thought, you know what this needs? A really good emergency room. The Mercy's Grace had treated plague victims on Centauri Prime, delivered octuplets to a hegemon queen, and once performed successful brain surgery on a silicon-based lifeform using nothing but a mining laser and some very creative thinking. They'd saved lives in war zones, disaster areas, and that one time they had to extract a patient from inside a dying star. Just another day at the office. Incoming priority message from Galactic Central. Florence announced. Apparently there's been some pirate activity in the sector. They're advising all civilian ships to exercise caution. Doc Martinez snorted. Pirates? In this sector? What are they going to steal our collection of rare space diseases? Perhaps they're suffering from a severe case of poor life choices, Florence suggested. We do have a department for that. It's called the airlock. No one was particularly worried. After all, what kind of idiot would attack a hospital ship? The answer to that question was about to become painfully clear to everyone involved. The first sign that something was wrong came when Florence interrupted the weekly staff meeting with an announcement that managed to sound both bored and amused. I hate to disrupt your riveting discussion about proper bedpan sanitization protocols, but we're being hailed by what appears to be the least impressive pirate vessel I've ever had the misfortune to scan. Doc Martinez set down her datapad. Show us. The holographic display in the conference room flickered to life, revealing a ship that looked like someone had welded several garbage scows together and then decided to add spikes for aesthetic value. Its hull bore the scars of numerous battles, though based on the repair work, most of those battles had been with basic engineering principles. That's a pirate ship, Jake asked, squinting at the display. Looks more like a tetanus lawsuit waiting to happen. Indeed, Florence agreed. They're demanding we surrender and prepare to be boarded. Should I respond with our usual hospital policy regarding uninvited guests? No. No, Doc Martinez said, a small smile playing at her lips. Let's be professional about this. Put them through. The hologram shifted to show the pirate captain, and several staff members had to stifle laughs. Captain Vrex of the Krasnark pirates cut an imposing figure if you ignored the fact that his fearsome battle armor appeared to be held together with space tape and optimism. His species resembled a cross between an earth lobster and a particularly angry file cabinet. Attention, primitive human vessel. Vrex's translator boomed with unnecessary volume. You will surrender your valuables and prepare for boarding. Resistance is. Why are you all smiling? Doc Martinez stood, straightening her pristine white uniform. This is the human medical ship Mercy's Grace. I'm head nurse Martinez. I should inform you that under Galactic Convention, attacking a medical vessel is considered a Class 1 violation. Ah, but that is why we are perfect for this job, Vrex proclaimed proudly. We already have many Class 1 violations. Adding another is like adding sprinkles to a dessert crime. Florence's voice carried a distinct note of pity. I feel compelled to point out that this logic is about as sound as performing brain surgery with a sledgehammer. The pirates, it seemed, were not to be deterred by either logic or the increasingly amused expressions of the medical staff. Within minutes, they had clamped onto the Mercy's Grace's hull and begun cutting their way through. Should we stop them? Rex asked, watching the security feed as the pirates struggled with their cutting equipment. In a moment, Doc Martinez replied, sipping her coffee. Florence, are all non-essential personnel and patients secured in the safe zones? Of course. Though I should note that 3 of our Hixtal patients are taking bets on how long it will take these idiots to realize they're cutting through a storage closet full of bedpans. The first group of pirates finally breached the hull, storming into the storage closet with weapons raised and battle cries at the ready. They found themselves face to face with several hundred neatly stacked bedpans, which promptly avalanched onto them thanks to Florence's precise adjustment of the artificial gravity in that section. Fear us, shouted a pirate from beneath a pile of medical equipment. We are the scourge of, is this a bedpan? In the conference room, Doc Martinez finally stood up. Well, I suppose we should go greet our guests. Jake, get your toolkit. Rex, bring the portable scanner. Let's make sure none of them injured themselves during their dramatic entrance. And someone please tell Dr. Kumar that he'll have to reschedule his presentation on proper hand-washing techniques. What about the pirates? One of the younger nurses asked. Doc Martinez's smile would have made a shark proud. Oh, don't worry about them. They're about to receive a crash course in human healthcare. Florence, initiate protocol uninvited guest. With pleasure, the AI responded. Though I feel obligated to inform our uninvited guests that the Mercy's Grace has a strict policy regarding payment for emergency services, and our rates for treating self-inflicted stupidity are particularly high. As more pirates began cutting their way through different sections of the hull, none of them seemed to notice that the hospital staff wasn't running away. In fact, the medical professionals were calmly organizing themselves with the kind of efficiency that only comes from dealing with mass casualty incidents and Monday morning rush hours. The pirates were about to learn why every species in the galaxy agreed on one thing: you don't mess with human medical professionals. They deal with entitled patients, mountains of paperwork, and 12-hour shifts running on nothing but coffee and spite. A few pirates? That's just a chance to practice their emergency response protocols. Captain Vrex, still on his bridge, was starting to get confused by the reports coming in from his boarding parties. Something about flying bedpans, corridors that seemed to rearrange themselves, and medical staff who seemed disturbingly happy to see them. He was about to discover that his day was going to get much, much worse. The thing about healthcare professionals is that they're generally very nice, patient people. They have to be. But there's a line you don't cross, and threatening patients is about 10 miles past that line. The first pirate to discover this was a Krasnark named Grix, who made the mistake of waving his plasma rifle at the Hixtal patients in Ward C. He found himself facing Doc Martinez, who was holding a clipboard and wearing an expression that had made seasoned surgeons cry. Sir, she said in her special voice reserved for people who were about to have a very educational experience, I'm going to have to ask you to lower your weapon. We have patients trying to rest. Hey, you cannot fool me with your human psychological warfare, Grix declared. I am here to. Why are you writing on that clipboard? Just documenting your symptoms, Doc Martinez replied calmly. Severe case of acute poor decision-making, coupled with a critical lack of survival instinct. Florence, would you please get Mr. Thompson in here? I believe we need an emergency consultation. Of course, Florence replied. Jake is already on his way with his special equipment. The special equipment turned out to be a modified medical scanner that Jake had jury-rigged to emit a frequency that played havoc with Krasnark battle armor. Grix's fearsome suit suddenly began playing what sounded suspiciously like human elevator music while its joints locked up. What? What is this sorcery? Grix demanded as his armor forced him into what looked like a particularly awkward yoga pose. Just a little physical therapy, Jake said cheerfully, adjusting some dials. How's your range of motion? Any discomfort? Don't worry, we'll have you doing the hokey pokey in no time. Meanwhile, in the pediatric ward, Rex Tank Johnson was demonstrating why he'd earned his nickname. 3 pirates had burst in, only to find the massive orderly calmly standing between them and a room full of alien children. Now folks, Rex said, cracking his knuckles, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the fun way. The easy way is you turn around and leave. The fun way, he grinned. Well, I've been wanting to test out our new physical rehabilitation equipment. The pirates, displaying a rare moment of wisdom, chose the easy way. Unfortunately for them, they turned right instead of left at Rex's suggestion and found themselves in the physical therapy room. The automated resistance training machines, under Florence's gleeful control, sprang to life. Welcome to your complimentary fitness assessment, Florence announced as mechanical arms grabbed the pirates and began putting them through a vigorous workout routine. Today's session focuses on flexibility, cardio, and learning not to threaten children in hospitals. Throughout the ship, similar scenes were playing out. The medical staff, far from being helpless victims, were implementing what they like to call aggressive preventive care. Dr. Kumar had barricaded himself and several pirates in the decontamination chamber, giving them a very thorough lecture about proper hygiene while the sterilization systems ran on full power. And this, gentlemen, is why we always wash our hands before and after patient contact. Notice how the ultraviolet light brings out the bacteria. Fascinating, isn't it? Shall we run another cycle? In the pharmacy, the head pharmacist had introduced a group of pirates to the concept of human anesthetics. They were now having a lovely nap while she cataloged their vital signs for her research on xenobiology. Florence Doc Martinez called as she finished securing Grix with surgical tape. Status report. 17 pirates currently undergoing various forms of medical intervention, the AI reported. 8 in physical therapy. 4 taking an unexpected nap in pharmacy. 3 attending Dr. Kumar's hygiene seminar. And 2 getting a rather aggressive dental cleaning they didn't schedule. Captain Vrex is still on his ship, becoming increasingly confused by the reports he's receiving. Excellent. And our patients? All secure and thoroughly entertained. The Hrixtal have started a betting pool on which pirate will receive the most educational experience. Current odds favor the group that just entered the infectious disease ward wearing compromised environmental suits. Doc Martinez winced. Oh dear. Did anyone warn them about the quarantine protocols? I believed it would be more instructive if they discovered those on their own, Florence replied with what could only be described as digital satisfaction. A scream echoed down the corridor, followed by the sound of automatic decontamination systems activating. Very instructive indeed, Doc Martinez nodded. Jake, how's our guest doing with his physical therapy? Jake looked up from where he was adjusting his modified scanner. Grix's armor was now making him perform what appeared to be a one-man conga line. I think he's getting the hang of it, though he keeps shouting about revenge and eternal suffering. Should I switch him to the Macarena? Maybe later. Right now, I believe it's time we had a word with Captain Vrex about his crew's unauthorized self-admission to our facility. She straightened her uniform. Florence, please inform our guest that the head nurse would like to discuss his insurance coverage. The day was far from over, and the pirates were about to learn that in healthcare, the bill is often scarier than the treatment. Captain Vrex was having what humans would charitably call a day. His boarding parties had either stopped responding or were sending back reports that made absolutely no sense. Something about mandatory yoga sessions, impromptu dance classes, and a terrifying lecture on the importance of flossing. What do you mean you retaking a nap? He bellowed into his communicator. You supposed to be pillaging. Sorry, Captain, came the drowsy reply. The nice lady in pharmacy said we needed to test some medicine. Did you know humans have pills that can, zzz. The communication cut off, replaced by Florence's pleasantly professional voice. Captain Vrex? Head Nurse Martinez would like to discuss your crew's current treatment plan. Also, your ship's attempt to hack our systems has been diagnosed with a terminal case of inadequacy. Would you like to schedule a consultation? On the bridge of his ship, Vrex's antennae twitched nervously. Something was very wrong here. Hospital ships were supposed to be easy targets. Every manual on piracy said so right there in Chapter 3, between picking suitable victims and why parrots are optional. Your tricks 1T work on me, he declared. I am the scourge of the spiral arm. The terror of the trading lanes. The recipient of some very unfortunate genetic counseling. Apparently Doc Martinez interrupted, having patched into the video feed. Captain, I'm afraid your crew has been admitted for emergency treatment of acute stupidity. Would you like to discuss payment options now, or shall we send the bill to your next of kin? Meanwhile, deeper in the ship, Jake Thompson was giving a masterclass in creative use of medical equipment. He'd modified an MRI machine to act as a makeshift tractor beam, and was currently using it to juggle 3 pirates in full battle armor. The magnetic field is perfectly safe, he assured his unwilling participants. Probably. Though you might want to remove any metallic implants and credit chips, and that dental filling looks a bit loose. Rex had taken a different approach to ship defense. He'd weaponized the hospital beds. YC, he explained to a group of pirates currently trapped in a makeshift barricade of self-propelled medical beds. These things are designed to move patients around safely. But if you override the safety protocols. He pressed a button, and the beds began a complicated choreographed routine that looked like a cross between a square dance and a demolition derby. I feel compelled to point out, Florence announced, that this is not the manufacturer's recommended use of the equipment. I also feel compelled to record it for our next staff training video. Dr. Kumar had finally emerged from the decontamination chamber, leaving behind 3 pirates who were now probably the cleanest members of their species in recorded history. Fascinating response to the sterilization protocols, he noted in his research log. Subject A has developed a Pavlovian response to hand sanitizer dispensers. Subject B is compulsively organizing surgical instruments. Subject C keeps mumbling about bacteria in their sleep. The pharmacy team had moved on from simple sedatives to more creative solutions. They'd discovered that certain anti-nausea medications had an interesting side effect on Krasnark physiology, namely, making them extremely susceptible to catchy tunes. I don't know why they're all singing Don't Stop Believin', the head pharmacist reported, but I'm definitely publishing a paper about this. Doc Martinez was making her way to the main airlock, accompanied by Jake and his newest invention, a repurposed ultrasound machine that he swore could now function as a non-lethal sonic weapon. I just reversed the polarity, he explained proudly. Now instead of looking at babies, it makes pirates dance the cha-cha. Florence Martinez called out, status update on our uninvited guests. 23 pirates currently undergoing various forms of therapeutic intervention, the AI reported. 4 are participating in an impromptu musical in pharmacy. 6 are learning interpretive dance via magnetic manipulation. 5 are experiencing the most aggressive spa day of their lives in decontamination. 3 are still attending Dr. Kumar's endless hygiene seminar. And the rest are scattered throughout the ship discovering new and exciting applications of medical technology. And Captain Vrex, still on his ship, though his vital signs suggest he's developing what humans call stress ulcers. Should I schedule him for a gastroscopy? Not yet. First, we need to discuss his crew's insurance coverage, or rather the lack thereof. The head nurse reached the airlock, straightened her uniform, and prepared to deliver the most terrifying thing in human medicine, the bill. Behind her, the sound of pirates learning about human healthcare continued to echo through the halls of the Mercy's Grace. Someone in pharmacy had started a conga line. Dr. Kumar could be heard starting another lecture on proper scrubbing technique. And through it all, Florence kept adding to what would become the most unusual patient records in the history of space medicine. The pirates were about to learn that the only thing more formidable than human medical professionals was human medical billing. Captain Vrex was having what medical professionals technically term a complete meltdown. His boarding parties had either gone silent, started singing, or were sending increasingly concerning reports about something called synchronized bed dancing. And now he was face to face with the most terrifying human he'd ever encountered, a head nurse with a clipboard and a very disappointed expression. Now then, Doc Martinez said, standing in the airlock connecting the 2 ships, let's discuss your crew's outstanding balance. Balance? What balance? We are pirates. We don't pay bills. I was afraid you'd say that. She held up her clipboard. Your crew has received emergency treatment for multiple self-inflicted conditions, including but not limited to acute cranial rectal insertion, terminal overconfidence, and severe deficiency of common sense. The standard rate for these procedures is quite steep. However, we do offer a payment plan for qualifying patients. Would you like to discuss our options, or should we proceed with the alternative treatment? Vrex's antennae twitched nervously. Alternative treatment, Behind Martinez, Jake Thompson patted his modified ultrasound machine lovingly. Ever wondered what a kidney stone feels like, Captain? Neither have I, but this baby can simulate the experience in 12 different species. Meanwhile, throughout the Mercy's Grace, the final phase of patient care was being implemented. In the pharmacy, the head pharmacist had made a breakthrough in xenobiology. Fascinating, she noted in her research log. When exposed to a combination of human anti-anxiety medication and berry manilow, Krasnark pirates exhibit perfect pitch. The ones in bed 3 have just finished a flawless rendition of Copacabana. Vrex had upgraded his bed-based defense system. The medical beds were now performing what he insisted was a tactical maneuver, but looked suspiciously like the world's most dangerous synchronized swimming routine. It's all in the hydraulics, he explained to his captive audience, who were trapped in the middle of this mechanical ballet. Now, who wants to see them do the wave? Dr. Kumar had moved his hygiene seminar to the surgical theater, where he was giving a detailed presentation on proper sterile technique. Notice how the ultraviolet light reveals bacteria even after standard cleaning? This is why we scrub for exactly 7 minutes. Shall we practice again? That's only the 47th time, and repetition is the key to learning. Florence had taken to providing running commentary on the whole situation. Update: pirates in Ward C have officially set a new hospital record for consecutive hours of mandatory physical therapy. Previous record was held by that Zentran diplomat who tried to skip his post-op exercises. Pirates in pharmacy have started a barbershop quartet. Quality of singing, questionable. Entertainment value priceless. In the pediatric ward, young patients are giving their captive audience a detailed lecture on proper hospital etiquette. 3 pirates have been reduced to tears by a particularly stern 6-year-old explaining why running in the corridors is strictly prohibited. Back at the airlock, Doc Martinez was reviewing the bill with Captain Vrex. And this charge here is for attitude adjustment therapy, very expensive procedure. Rare side effects may include spontaneous dancing, uncontrollable singing, and a sudden appreciation for hospital regulations. But we didn't ask for any of this. I'm afraid that falling unconscious during attempted piracy counts as implied consent for emergency treatment. Hospital policy, you understand. Now, about your insurance. We don't have insurance. We re-pirates. No insurance, Martinez clicked her tongue disapprovingly. I was afraid of that. Jake, would you please show the captain our special payment plan for uninsured patients? Jake grinned and powered up his ultrasound machine. It emitted a high-pitched whine that made Vrex's battle armor start doing the Macarena. This is just the consultation fee, Jake explained cheerfully. Wait until you see what happens when we discuss the actual bill. Throughout the ship, the remaining pirates were learning valuable lessons about human healthcare. The bills are scarier than any weapon. Physical therapy is technically not a violation of the Geneva Convention. Hospital beds are more maneuverable than they appear. Never, ever skip Dr. Kumar's hygiene seminar. And perhaps most importantly, 5. Humans take patient care very, very seriously. As Vrex's armor forced him through a particularly energetic cha-cha slide, Doc Martinez smiled the smile that every healthcare professional develops after years of dealing with difficult patients. Now then, Captain, shall we discuss your surrender, or would you prefer to see our extended care options? The day was almost over, and the pirates were about to learn the true meaning of healthcare professional. It's remarkable how quickly things can return to normal on a hospital ship. Within hours of Captain Vrex's surrender, which occurred shortly after Jake demonstrated the kidney stone simulator setting on his modified ultrasound machine, the Mercy's Grace was back to its regular routine. Well, almost regular. Patient in bed 12 needs their medication, Florence announced. Also, the pirates in Ward C have started a support group for recovering space bandits. They're calling it Pirates Anonymous. Current topic of discussion: why hospital bills are scarier than black holes. Doc Martinez was updating her official report, trying to find professional-sounding ways to describe what had happened. In response to unauthorized boarding action, hospital staff implemented emergency protocol uninvited guest, resulting in successful rehabilitation of 27 space pirates through innovative use of medical equipment and therapeutic techniques. Side effects included spontaneous dancing, excessive cleanliness, and a newfound respect for healthcare professionals. In the pharmacy, they were still finding pirates humming Copacabana. The head pharmacist had already submitted a paper to the Galactic medical journal titled Musical Side Effects of Human Anti-Anxiety Medications on Krasnark Physiology, a case study in accidental healthcare. Dr. Kumar had received 16 thank you notes from reformed pirates, all meticulously sanitized and properly sealed, according to hospital protocols. He proudly posted them on his office wall next to his world's most persistent lecturer certificate. Rex's choreographed hospital bed routine had become so popular that the manufacturer requested a demonstration for their annual sales conference. He was currently teaching the maintenance crew how to make the beds perform a perfect synchronized triple axel. Jake Thompson had been politely asked by hospital administration to please stop modifying medical equipment to create defensive weapons. He agreed, then immediately began work on what he called a therapeutic enhancement device that was definitely not a sonic cannon disguised as an EKG machine. You know, Florence mused during the weekly staff meeting, we should update our patient intake forms to include failed piracy attempt under reason for admission. The Galactic Healthcare Administration sent a formal inquiry about the incident, to which Doc Martinez replied with a detailed report on innovative emergency response protocols in modern space medicine. It won several awards and became required reading at medical academies across the galaxy. Captain Vrex and his crew were released after completing their treatment and signing numerous forms acknowledging their astronomical medical debt. They were last seen heading toward the nearest legitimate employment office, muttering about payment plans and interest rates. The incident did have some lasting effects on the Mercy's Grace. The pharmacy added impromptu musical therapy to their list of services. The physical therapy department created a new program called Rehabilitation Through Dance with a footnote specifying that participation must be voluntary usually. Dr. Kumar's hygiene seminars became legendary throughout the sector, often used as a deterrent against potential pirates' surrender now, or will make you attend the full 3-hour presentation on proper hand-washing technique. And perhaps most importantly, the Mercy's Grace gained a reputation, not as an easy target, but as the ship that turned a band of space pirates into the cleanest, most rhythm-capable, debt-ridden ex-criminals in the galaxy. You know, Doc Martinez said one morning, reviewing the monthly statistics, our patient satisfaction scores have actually gone up since the incident. Indeed, Florence agreed. Though I suspect that has less to do with our medical care, and more to do with the fact that no one wants to complain about the food when they've seen what happens to pirates who cause trouble. The Mercy's Grace continued its mission, sailing through the dangerous parts of space, helping those in need, and maintaining its unique approach to hospital security. After all, in the vast expanse of space, sometimes the best defense is a good healthcare plan. And if any other pirates are thinking of targeting a human hospital ship, just remember the bill is always scarier than the treatment. Unless Dr. Kumar is giving another lecture on proper scrubbing technique, then all bets are off.